You did a pan-India movie called Kalki.
Hi, I'm KK.
A man who's loved in Sudaraipotru.
Many years ago, quit my university, my college, came back to follow a spark that was lit in me when I saw theatre for the first time. My first film was in 2011. A lot of people even know that. It was called Kadalagi. I didn't enjoy the process and I took a 13-year break before Sudaraipotru. You don't have to go through hell, waste 30 years of your life where you could have done something you truly love, because the real currency that exists, Rajiv, is your time.
You have missed golden opportunities. Yes, KK, the time with your family, yes, the time with your friends will not come back. But these opportunities will not come back.
When you're 70 and you're on your deathbed, 80 maybe, what are you thinking about? How much money you made, the car you drove, or the most amazing experiences that you had with people?
All right. Welcome to OTTO, your story, your style. This is an exclusive show on Chennai Live. And today, my friends, we have someone whose story ought to be known, but many of us know of the man, but maybe not the story behind all of this. We'll talk about this with a very simple life saying. When opportunity knocks on your door, grab it, they say. This man built his own several doors. Opportunity was knocking. Opportunity was banging. But then people say, you know what, he has too much of authority. He chose to let go of those opportunities. It's a very interesting story. Maybe we will understand the reason behind this, the love behind this, whether it's a sacrifice or it's self or it's service. All this will be combined in this conversation with a man who we see, love, admire in various avatars. He is a director, a writer, a theatre and movie actor, a hospital clown, and a very, very doting father. And I assume he's a loving husband as well. We'll have to confirm that part of it. With me is KK. Hello, KK. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Rajiv. Thank you.
Good to see you here. And it's a person, it's a face that people don't get to see too often. You know, you have chosen that. I love the camera, but if it's not for a movie, if it's not for work, I don't see the camera. That's what it is. But let me ask you today, how are you and how has life been treating you?
I couldn't complain. It's been fantastic. I get to follow my dream every day. So I can't complain. It's been great.
You know, of course, it's a very enviable life that you have on the outset. But it's a very questionable decision that we see you make on the same outset. A man whose performance was loved in Sudaraipotru. You got this dream debut with an amazing big actor like Akshay Kumar in Sarfara. You did a pan-India movie called Kalki. And today we're asking, where did this man go? Is it lack of opportunity? Which I don't think is the case. Is it too much of self-pride and personal decision-making? Or why are you not using the offers that are coming to you? One questions your decisions. And that's my same question to you. What's your answer?
All right. That seemed like a hell of an introduction, first of all. But let me think from the angle that you're going in. This is usually the question I get asked from my friends, sometimes even family. But really, I want to do what makes me happy. So as simple as that. Many years ago, quit my university, my college, came back to follow a spark that was lit in me when I saw theatre for the first time. This was when I was in 6th grade, right? I saw a play by the Little Theatre. And I was inspired to act and perform. And when I saw the magic unfold on stage, there was one actor, his name is Sundar Ramu, he's a photographer. Man, you had 500 people in that auditorium who stood up and did everything that he asked. That energy there was electric, right? That's the fire that was lit in me. And so when I went to the US, I had to study my undergraduation. I had a scholarship. I realized this is not what I want to do. I want to do theatre. I want to perform. And at that point of time, of course, you're enamored by the idea of also film, right? The idea of being famous and rich, and you've got all of these people who adore you and all that. But when you get into the art and you start practicing it, you learn a lot of things, right? And that's what theatre gives you. Film does not give you that. Film is a whole different beast. Theatre is a whole different beast. you learn what it is to be grounded. You understand the reality of the work, and it's hard work and sweat. And the same thing with film. People see the glamour. It is a bunch of sweaty, dying people working hard, right? So it is a nice story for the people on the outside to see, the gossip, the flair, the glamour. But in the end, it's work. That's all it is. So, and I have the privilege of being able to say stories and possibly get paid for it. This is what I love. So if a film pops up and it's something that I really love, it's another medium for me to say a story. If I get to write a book that I'm excited about, another medium for me to say a story. And if I get to do that on theater, because theater right now allows me to direct as well, I get to say my story. That's all I care about, irrespective of what the medium is. As long as I get to say stories, I'm happy.
Well, of course, it's a very interesting perspective. And who would have thought this young boy, when you're watching Little Theatre, you'd actually be heading it and it'll become family as well.
Yeah.
Do what you love to do.
Yeah.
Is your simple line. Don't do what you have to do. Do what you love to do. If it gives you joy, do it. I would say, tell me if I'm wrong, it's a very dangerous line to tell the youngsters. Today, people look up to you. You're an actor. They see you performing. They see you defying who can enter the film industry. And are you saying do only what you love to do? Because some people say you gotta do what you gotta do. If you don't like it, do it. Because at the end of it, your dream will come alive. What is your message through your life journey?
First question I always have is, if you don't love it, is that dream worth having? Right? You get this one life. And I think it's absolutely nuts that everyone's forced into this capitalist system where you have to just keep churning and making money. The goal is now about entirely making money. But if you just pay attention to all of the ones who've made a hell of a lot of money, your famous actors and all of them who also have creative hunger, but they've gone on this journey, and then you hear them say, you know what, money doesn't bring you happiness. And then the people on this side would say, you know what, I'll make that money and decide for myself. But sometimes you don't have to go through hell, waste 30 years of your life where you could have done something you truly love, because the real currency that exists, Rajiv, is your time. You're never going to get that back. Never going to get that back. You'll never get those moments that you would miss with your parents, or those incredible moments that you share with your friends or your family, your children. You're never going to get that back if you trade that for, I'm going to hustle and make money. Because when you're 70 and you're on your deathbed, 80 maybe, what are you thinking about? How much money you made, the car you drove, or the most amazing experiences that you had with people? That is currency. And that's the sad part of how we are tuned to think success is today. Hustle, make money. This is the motto we're living in. It is disheartening to see so many young people go into this spiral and lose inspiration for life in general. What are you going to do with all that money? Eat it? No. There's something else to it. There's got to be something more. There's got to be inspiration and motivation and love and all of these emotions that you experience with people. That's what life has to be about.
There are many people who will agree with what you're saying and would love to be in a position of what or who you are. Movies, fame, name, you have it all. A loving family, a doting wife, a very wonderful daughter. You have it all. And some people say, man, this guy should have done a lot more movies. You have missed golden opportunities. Yes, KK, the time with your family, yes, the time with your friends will not come back. But these opportunities will not come back. This dream of being the actor may not come back. So are you able to balance the self versus the others? The me versus the family? Are you able to balance that?
I would argue that essentially, if this is what brings me the bulk of my happiness, truly sitting on a film set for days and months on end, only as long as I enjoy the work that I'm doing, the character and in the end, it's still the team, right? You need to have a great team you're going to resonate with and work with. Without all of that, what is that work? What is that creative expression? Yes, okay, they pay you a few lakhs, that's great. And then what? That's my point. With theater, it's not like we're just living a very casual life. No, it is really hard work. It's a bunch of 100 people sitting and breaking their heads on how do we create a scene that's going to entertain the audience. And today it's even harder, because why should someone come to the theater to watch a live stage show when they can have AI generated videos on their phone that look phenomenal, right? So you're battling that. You're battling human experience. You're battling how do I perform live and connect with someone. Now that's hard work, but it's work we enjoy. It's work that is run by absolute love. And that's what makes it worth it, because you're still forming friendships and camaraderie there. And that's the same thing that happens in film industries as well. Not all films and not all theater productions. But as long as you can achieve that, that is the central goal. That is the central goal. Yes, money is great. And I wish, I had like 30, 40 crores at some point in my life. I have all of those, but I'm not driven by that. And I don't want to be driven by that. There are days where I feel like absolute crap. And I sit and think, you know what? Maybe I should have taken this. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I would have had a lot more money. Life would have been a little more, freer with certain things. But guess what? You have everything already. As long as you make the right choices to live within your means, you can be happy, because who is more happy? The guy sitting on tons of money, or the guy who has enough love and from his family and friends? Right? Live a good, healthy life. As long as you're healthy, you've got the wealth, which is your family. You've got people who support you. You've got friends who love you and family who love you. That's all you need, really. And that is what people are trying to achieve with that much money, right?
Some would say, KK, you are a letdown. And I will tell you why. You are a role model. You're in front of the students. You're in front of a lot of audiences who dream, who want to act, who want to perform, who want to live that 70 life. Maybe a decade back in 2012, there came in Vijay Sethupathi, who lit the dreams of so many people, saying that if you're a common man, it doesn't take crores of money to make a movie. If you act well and you persevere, you can be a hero. And the doors opened for many. Today he's a big star, quite unreachable. Here comes in a couple of years back, a man who has no connection to the movie industry, lots of talent, unmatchable perseverance, and the zest to fulfill his dream. Now that people are looking and saying, he was like us. He was one amongst us. He was setting up and opening doors for all of us. Now where is he gone? Why is he choosing self? Where are we in all of this? And they feel a bit let down. Would you agree that the dreams of many or the vision of many was in your hand? But the truth is, unlike the film heroes, maybe you let them down.
Now, this sort of goes down to the perception of what an actor's life is supposed to be like, right? Now, tell me, let's say someone actually hits gold in a film, all right? They've done really well in a film. What's the chance they're going to get the next opportunity? They may goof up the next opportunity, or the next film sucks and then the market's down again. These things are bound to happen, right? And if you as an actor are going to live your life based on the pressure of expectations, because nobody, Rajiv, has called me up and said, KK, you had to be here. Why are you not here? I've had these conversations with well-wishers where they say, what's happened? Macha, I hope you're doing well. I want to see you do something else. I agree with that. That's great. If I do get that opportunity that I resonate with, that I truly love, I'll go and do it. Because what is really valuable for every single, and I hope every single person watching this, young kids who have this dream of this glitz and glamour, I hope you're doing whatever you're doing because you're in love with the craft, not in love with what it offers otherwise, because that's not real. That's just fluff. What's real is, are you happy with what you're doing at the moment? There is real value to it, which is the reason why you're sitting and doing what you're doing now, because you love this, right? Not for any other reason. Yes, and I am lucky that I am sitting in a position where I am not struggling for money, because I'm able to run theater and do that well for now. So if I was ever that desperate, yes, then you go and do what you got to do. But when you have things where you're comfortable, there was a time when I had $500 in my pocket before I was doing theater. When I was doing theater, I would come 2007. When I quit university and came back, I remember I used to get 250 rupees as petrol allowance to come in and assist actors at Little Theatre and teachers at Little Theatre. I learned from there, right? And then you realize, my first film was in 2011. A lot of people even know that there was a film that released in 2011. It was called Kadalagi. I didn't enjoy the process. I worked with good people. I just didn't enjoy the process. And I took a 13-year break before Surre Potru, right? Because my dream, Rajiv, was truly to enjoy what I am doing. And I learned that that was a dream. I learned that I was initially married to the idea of the fame and fortune and all of these things that come with, the glamour that comes with the film industry. You get older, that leaves you very quickly, right? And the more you immerse yourself in an art form like theater and you start enjoying it, you realize that, no man, I'm affecting people. I had one incredible incident that happened in the theater. There was in 2019. I met this wonderful lady who came in. She was pregnant. She came to the stage and she said, you know what? I have seen your shows for the last 8 years, right? And I want my child to experience the same thing. And that's why I've come to the theater. No amount of money is ever going to put a price on that. That is value. That is what you provide to the community as an actor. The thing is, the whole world believes that an artist is a film actor because that is what they get to see. There is a whole world that exists outside of that. It's just that common people are not used to seeing it. But there is a massive world of the arts, not just theater, that exists. And there are patrons and people who are affected every day by it. And that is the effect an artist can have, which is transformative in a community.
What were the offers that came by? And today, on the hindsight, since you're being so honest, I know there's a sense of regret or missed opportunity. For sure. You wish you did that. You could have done that. You must have tried that. There is something. And if you've anyway opened these doors, open the door of regret also.
So, there were a lot of opportunities that did come my way, but a lot of them also had the army guy, the police guy, right? This is what was flowing in. And one of the reasons why I made a conscious decision to lay off all of that, yes, sometimes it is nice to have that money, right? Because you're going to get paid. So you have to have a discussion, is the money making the film look attractive to you? Or is the film actually attractive? Is the character actually speaking to you? So my regrets are mostly momentarily where I felt like, man, this could have paid off for these things. This money would have been nice. This would have allowed me to do that. But every decision I took creatively, I stand by 100%. So my regrets are more superficial.
Financial regret.
Yeah, that exists for every actor. That's your primary goal, is to make sure that your art feeds you, right? Now, again, like I said, I'm lucky I made theater work for me, but I would like film to work for me because we are to answer your previous question as well, you do sit in a capitalist world, and art is basically at war with capitalism. That's the crazy part, right? On one side, you have to have all of these parameters to make the film work that have nothing to do with the craft at all. And on the other side, an artist wants to make a film that's true to his soul. So you have this always at battle, and that's why the business runs. I'm very aware of it. In theater, that battle is a lot lesser. The risk is a lot lesser, but it exists. At the scale in which we do at the Little Theatre, it still exists. But I've learned to balance that art very well, and I enjoy that process as well. So don't get me wrong, I do feel like I need more money. I do feel like, I could have taken these opportunities. I do feel like that. But I stand by the decisions I make, because when I enter back into the theatre and work, I'm having the time of my life. Or when I choose to do a film, every film that I did, Surai Potru, Sarfira, Kalki, I worked with beautiful people and I had a blast doing that. And I did have something in between where I said, you know what? I don't know why I'm taking this film, but let's just go at it. I did not enjoy that process. It did happen. I did make a film where I played a cop in between. Someone else made the film. I acted in that film. I did not enjoy the process. For all the, I usually don't mention.
Why does no one know about that?
Well, people
or am I the unaware one?
You're aware of it, I'm assuming. The reason I don't mention it, because in the end, there are lots of people involved in the equation when you're doing a film, and it hurts their soul when you talk, negatively about it, because no one's going out to make a bad film. Nobody is. The producer's setting out to make some money. The director's trying to go out there and put something great for the audience, and every actor is working their butts off to make it look good. Sometimes the marriage of all of these people just doesn't work out, right? It's just one of those things. And your skill as an artist also has to come into identifying what is the possibility of everything going to crap. Are you really going to enjoy this or not? That's a decision that you'll have to make. So I'm very careful with the decisions I make with regards to the films I'm going to get on board.
How have you managed to steer completely clear of controversy
one thing, and the most important factor is no one's coming and taking pictures of me or videos of me when I'm engaging in some fight. It's not like I've not had some, minor road rash incidents. Things happen, but no one's like sitting there thinking, oh, him. None of that's happened to me. So that's in a way, in a sense, good. But I also prefer peace over really, creating some controversy for the sake of it. I don't know if people actually do it. I'm assuming people do. It's just not something that interests me. I think it's a complete waste of time. I actually enjoy my peace and quiet quite a bit.
Run me through your love life, because how did you meet Rohini? And as someone watching Little Theatre, one as a little boy, who would have thought that this man will become family, run it, head it, be loved at it? I mean, this is itself a story in itself. So tell me about that.
Rohini and I were classmates since first standard in Chettinad.
You fell in love because of theatre, or you fell in love with theatre because of her?
Well, they're two separate love stories.
Which is more dear?
That's a controversial question. But let me put it this way, right? For Rohini's birthday, we were invited to watch the show at the Little Theatre once. This was when I was in 6th grade. That's when I saw theatre for the first time in my life, and I saw the kind of impact it makes on people, because it had an impact on me as a child. It was transformative for me. That's the reason why I was not a kid who was greatly well known in the early years of my school. I had a stutter. I was very nervous. I was afraid of stage. When I remember there was a time when there was a school play and you were called in to do a reading. I got so nervous that my mouth disconnected from my brain and I couldn't basically even read, right? But when I went to see that show, it lit that fire that you got this, you can do it, it's possible. And it is that one transformative moment that changed everything for me in terms of how I accessed culturals in school, how I started to view life, and how it allowed me to take on that challenge. Sometimes you need something that you see, it inspires you so much that even if your confidence is at an all-time low, it pushes you upstairs to take that walk. And that's what watching that show did for me. And I fell in love with Rohini many years later when I was 22 years old. I still remember I told her, I don't have a job. I don't have a degree because I quit my scholarship in my university in the US and I've come back to India. And I just want to be an actor. And at that time, theatre, film, everything was open to this one. And in fact, I was just learning how to do theatre. And she said, listen, your investment. She said, you're an investment. You don't have to have anything now because I can take care of myself. Your investment. And you're going to be amazing one day. And I think these are very powerful things that we don't value as young people. You just need one person to believe in you, right? One of my biggest mentors was the founder of Little Theatre. And this was way before Rohini and I got together. She mentored me. She taught me a lot of things. She taught me production. She allowed me that space to come in and learn writing and assist people. A kid who was 18 years old, who quit university, and during our times, we don't quit university and we don't quit college, right? You don't quit your scholarship, and you don't quit when you especially go to the US and come back. It's everyone hates you for that because that's a golden opportunity. So when I came back, there was only rejection everywhere, which I've not spoken about greatly because that's another thing. I feel people glamorize the idea of, back in the day, I used to sleep in my car. No one cares, right? That's okay. You don't have to glamorize the pain that you're going through because this is what life is. There's someone without hands and legs. There's someone who's struggling with a child who has mental illness. Everyone's going through hell. So there's no point in glamorizing your problems because that's life. Everyone's got problems, right? Find your way up there and figure out what you can do. Everything else is an excuse. And that's what theatre was for me, to find out how I can get there and do it. And it has made my life with my family, with my wife, with my child even better. And full circle to see my daughter embrace the stage last year and perform. So to go back to the question of why my love for family is so much, is I learned that no matter where you are in life, they are your biggest cheerleaders. They are there with you, knowing you for all your flaws and all your downfalls and your positives and your negatives. And they're there to say, listen, man, we got you, go and do it. And that was what my wife was for me as well. We're not the perfect couple. We have our ups and downs. We fight. We're like everybody else. The only thing is, I have friendship underneath all of that, years of friendship, because I've known her since school. We were great friends from then. And the fact that at our lowest, I still know that she believes in me as an artist. And she believed in me when I had nothing. Now I have everything. And it's about time that you just respect those relationships, because as you get older, you do tend to understand the value, the real value of relationships. And I can tell you, any 35, 40-year-old will get there in their life where they start to value real, true friendships and love and things that people have done for you.
Fatherhood is something that I see you have graced so beautifully. And if I was to ask you to choose between a dream role versus time with your daughter, your answer would be?
Time with my daughter, there's no question about it.
Tell me how fatherhood has changed you.
Well, you have all these ideas of how you would be as a father before you become a father sometimes. And then you have a son or a daughter, and you're never ready for what's gonna happen to you internally.
Correct.
Right? It's a sense of, I think it's what nature builds inside of you. It's a sense of how much of a better version of you can you reach every day. So you provide a positive space for them to grow in. And we're all armed with the knowledge of, things that maybe didn't work out with our parents for us. All those things that we experienced as children that didn't work out for us. How are we going to change all of that for the future generation? We think about that. And I do feel that is a privilege that a lot of artists have, because a lot of your work has to affect your life. When you're an artist, an actor, for example, doing theater, you're essentially empathizing with various characters and trying to understand, why is this person feeling this way? And that is why theater makes your life so much better, because it gives you that your entire life and work is introspection on how you can actually find peace, happiness, joy, all of these things. And what is it that's shaking your core? What is it that is destroying your peace? What is it that you do as a cycle that's toxic to you? You tend to investigate all of these things. And that is why you have this privilege. You're not working a 9 to 5 for someone else's dream and going through the stress of it after you come back home. So you have no time for your introspection with that. And then one day you're collapsing and you have a midlife crisis and you're wondering, that's it, I am going to go to the Himalayas and figure my life out. That Himalayas is what theater is for me. And that is why I see so many people are so transformed when they come here, because they find an actual tool for joy. And so
You've reached the peak of the Himalayas.
I think
You're enjoying the view from there.
Not at all. I think I'm at the bottommost pit of where I can possibly be in terms of discovering what truly brings me joy, how I can be a better person. But that journey, that little climb, that attempt to do it, I feel like I'm not wasting my life, because I'm spending that time looking at intrinsic joy more than what I have to do and get from the outside.
There are places of pain, there are places of regret, there are places of meeting, there are places of separation. That happens, be it the airport, you see so many different emotions all in one place. Be it a hospital, you see hope, prayers, gratitude, all of this in one place. But there's also one thing that happens in a hospital, which is the willful assignment and dedication of spreading a smile. And that, I think, is the most noble thing to do. With this one act of yours, with this one effort or initiative of yours, KK, you prove it so well that your talent is not for you. It is for others. It is not for money. It is not for sales. It's not for tickets. It's for warmth and a smile. And that's what hospital clowns are all about. Tell me, why did you start this? How is it going? And I think this needs a lot more spotlight. So talk about that, please.
Well, all of this started when we were discussing as a team to understand how your craft can affect the community, right? Again, when actors speak, people always assume that it's about glitz, glamour, and people know about it because you're in a film. But when you spoke about love and adoration from a community, artists have it. It's just that people in general are not aware of it on their phones, because these are not things that are documented, right? But arts in education is huge. It transforms people. Arts in healthcare, when we thought about that, we suddenly said, this sounds like a great idea. And the founder actually made contact with someone in the US to understand how hospital clowning can be brought to India, because it's a very new culture here. It is, in fact, compulsory in children's wards abroad, in Australia and a lot of places. I did come across this when I had performed once in Iran. I met a couple of hospital clowns there who were doing transformative work. And Raji, these are not rich artists, but they are wealthy artists. They're filled with the kind of love and adoration, genuine love and adoration, not because you're over the top, because you're affecting their lives every single day. And this is where real value is. Make yourself useful, right? What is your maximum contribution that you can do is make yourself be useful and affect somebody else. And that is what we want to do as artists. Not just films, not just being on stage and entertaining people, something more. And then Hospital Clown was born. The Hospital Clowning Initiative was born. And we were trained by someone called Hilary Chaplin. She's a part of the New York Goofs, which is a hospital clowning group in New York. She was a part of Forrest Gump.
Okay.
And she was in that cast as a small role there. Incredible teacher. She trained full-time professional actors in our group for about 3 weeks. And we spent a few years adapting these teachings to our Indian context. And whenever
what do you all do actually?
So yes, when people, because it's sometimes it's easier to describe what hospital clowning is through a couple of stories that I have that we've gone through in the hospital, right? So we're at a private hospital now at Kaveri. A friend of mine and I, we were the first ones who got into this. So we were trying to experiment and see if this is going to work. This is the first day where we got our first divine cues saying that this is going to work. We had this mother who's from a very humble background, probably from a village. She's already feeling very, she doesn't fit in that private setting of a hospital. Her son had open heart surgery and he was in bed. And this little kid was refusing to drink water and he was dehydrated. And the nurses told us, well, you can go and meet him, but he does not talk to you at all. So we both went in our clown attire. We're equipped with all the ideas that we have to work with. And the mother says, please don't talk to him because he's not going to respond to you and he's in a lot of pain, and she's in tears. I said, okay, all right. So what we do essentially is he's not going to play with us. We both are having a great time chatting, talking about him. But everything we say has a sense of positivity. And we had this magic word called Jeem Boom Ba. And every time we said that word, something positive would happen, either in the story that we're telling him or in a magic trick where when he says Jeem Boom Ba, a magic trick would happen. So we're playing all of these games with him where he has now got it into his system that when he tries to say Jeem Boom Ba, something positive could happen, right? Now we have a thumb, that's a fake thumb, right? And it lights up. So my friend puts his stomach out and says, unbearable pain, you got to help me out with this. So I put my hand on his stomach and I tell this kid, listen, when you say Jeem Boom Ba, I get to take half his pain out. And I said, only you can do it because you've been doing it for all this while. Now the mind is in such desperation to receive control back because he has no control of his body. But now he's found a sense of control because 20 minutes he's been saying this word and something nice has been happening. And immediately he said, Jeem Boom Ba. I said, it's not enough. Try harder. He says, Jeem Boom Ba. I put my hand on my friend's stomach and I pull my thumb out and the thumb lights up. His face lit up with what is going on? And I acted like I threw it outside the window and my friend's like, half my pain's gone. And I said, all right, man, if you can do that for him, imagine what you could do for you. I said, listen, I can try and take half the pain away, just half, but you have to say Jeem Boom Ba. He's like, I'll do it. Okay, now he's responsive. I'll do it. He closes his eyes and he says, Jeem Boom Ba. We said, not enough. We need more. Loudly, he actually says, Jeem Boom Ba. We said, not enough. We see tears rolling out of his eyes. Every time I say it, I just have goosebumps.
Me too.
And he said, Jeem Boom Ba. I see his mother crying. I put my hand on his chest and I pull that light up. He's in awe of this light and I throw it out. We all three of us see it. He sits back. He sits on the bed and he says, Amma, paadi vali poichuma. And he tries to drink water. Now that is the power of arts. Try being useful and help somebody out. You would be blown away by the kind of happiness you receive out of it. Get yourself a car, you'll be bored in 5 days. Get yourself a video game, get yourself whatever. 5 days, a week, you're done. Help somebody out. See how much selfish happiness you get out of it. So yes, this is absolutely selfish. You get as an actor to go work with your hardest audience. People in the hospitals are not there paying money to come and have a good time. They have family who would die at any point in time. I work with cancer patients. The team goes in a high stress environment and earns the love and transforms that hospital into a happy place. When we walk out, you have 1,000 people in the hospital laughing, forgetting their misery at that point and dancing with us at some point. Now that is something else.
Yeah, it truly is.
And that is selfish. Because as an actor, you've accomplished your art, your worthiness, your art is transforming a space. That's where the power of art lies.
And I can say it very confidently, being selfish is a wonderful thing. Thanks to you. Wow, this is such an interesting chapter. These are so many different genres that you put into your own story. And it would only be right if I ask you now what's next. You've done so much. You are fueled by love, fire, and an ambition that very few can match. What's next? I come to understand, not from the media because you don't talk to the damn media, but I come to understand from a few people that you have this little story that you want to tell the world and you want to say it in the best way possible. The story is yours. The direction is yours. You're writing something and you aim to direct a movie very soon. What's next? What do we see coming up now? How long are you going to do this and when are you going to try something next?
Well, for one, we're also wanting the theatre to reach a larger audience because we've seen the transformative capacity of it. So we're trying to understand how we can make theatre live in a digital space without diluting the essence of theatre, which itself is live performance. So this is a new space for us to really navigate. It is something that we are still seeing how we can incorporate technology into that space. Having said that, my interests are also diversifying now, and I feel like another platform where I'd like to say stories is film. Yeah. So I'm hoping something glorious comes out of that, and I'm looking forward to that process.
And for all the people who are listening to you, who have dreams like yours, who want to follow the path that you are on, who want to realize that money is not everything, but there is love, there is a passion, there is family, there are people who actually care. What is your final message to all of them?
Find your balance. That's it. Find your balance, and that balance exists. You need everything. You do need money, but money is not going to make the world go round. That's an absolute lie that we have made to consume because we live in a capitalist society. There's so much more. That's the reason why you're even ambitious today to sit here and figure out what you want to do in life when you don't have that money is because you have a heart, you have love, you have support, you have ambition. And if you leave that and go towards something that is completely man-made, you lose everything else. This is what makes you. This is your drive. This side of things, this is your drive. The money will come. I promise you the money will come.
Because you are an investment.
Exactly.
As said by one very wise lady.
I love it.
KK, this was such a wonderful talk. It was a non-fiction story about a life that's all about fiction. It was exactly that. You spoke so well about a life that is unreal. It was real love, real dreams, real passion. Thank you so much for finally making it to my studio.
Thank you.
And it was worth the wait, I can say that.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Thank you very much for being a part of this interview. You have learned, you have loved, you have grown, and definitely learned lessons that are going to impact your daily life. This was KK. My name is Rajiv. OTTO, your story, your style. Remember, you are the hero we are celebrating.
This is Chennai Live, Radio Redefined.